Tea feels different, completely different when it's shared. Welcome back to the Fairy Crane Tea Podcast. This is Tea Talk, and I'm your host, Dawn. Today, we're continuing our summer series, and I want to invite you into a deeper exploration of tea, not just as something personal, but something relational. We've talked about living tea and letting tea feel light. But now we're looking beyond ourselves. What happens when tea isn't just for you, but it's something you share? I'm outside again today, and you can hear a breeze moving through the leaves and the sound of a bird overhead. I love recording like this because tea, for me, is always tied to the outdoors, tied to a sense of spaciousness. Today, I want to share a memory. A few summers ago, I was traveling with a dear friend, and we ended up in a small village in the mountains. There was a tiny tea house, almost hidden, tucked between wildflowers and stone paths. We sat down, and the tea arrived in simple clay cups. I remember we didn't talk at first. We just held the cups. After a few sips, we looked at each other, and there was quite an understanding. A quiet one. The tea was bringing us into a shared moment. That's what I mean by connection. Tea becomes different the moment it's shared, not just in a ritual sense, but in a moment when two people are truly present together. There's a subtle shift, and it's so easy to miss this. In our fast-paced world, we often treat tea as a solo escape, something we do to calm ourselves, to get centered. And it is that, but it's also a bridge. Tea allows us to meet others, not just by talking about it, but by being together in it. Think about the last time you shared tea with someone. Maybe it was a friend, a parent, or even a stranger who became a friend. Maybe you sat quietly, or maybe conversation flowed. Either way, something different happened. You weren't just talking, you were present in that moment together. Tea doesn't force connection, it simply creates a quiet space for it to emerge. I think about my grandmother. She grew up in a small town, and every morning, every afternoon, she would have tea or coffee by the window. And sometimes I'd sit with her. At first, I was a kid. I didn't understand. But now I realize those mornings with coffee and afternoons with tea weren't about the tea alone. They were about how we were together, just sitting, being. No need to rush, no need to fill every moment. Those afternoons having tea on her front porch, on her swing, and us just rocking back and forth together. That's the gift tea gives us in connection. Not a big gesture, but a small invitation to simply be. So I want you to try something this week. If you drink tea alone, that's fine. Keep doing it. But one day, invite someone in. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Maybe you just hand them a cup, or maybe you sit together in silence. Notice what happens. Does something shift? Does that moment feel different than when you were by yourself? When we share tea, we don't have to talk about big things. Sometimes connection grows in the simplest moments. Maybe it's a pause after a sip. Maybe it's a glance that lingers. There's no script here. Tea invites us to be open, open to each other, open to the quiet, open to the present moment. In this summer series, we're exploring how tea moves from a practice to a way of living. And living tea means letting it touch the edges of your relationships, not just your schedule. Summer reminds us life is more open now. Let tea be a gentle guide into that openness, letting you connect first with yourself and then with others. So I'll leave you with this question. Where in your daily life are you ready to let connection unfold? Where can tea be a doorway, not just to calm, but to be present with someone else? If you'd like to go deeper, we've created full tea lessons available on our website and through Patreon. These lessons help you build a personal practice and also invite you to share it in simple, natural ways. And if you'd like to stay connected with us, then you can do so on Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube, where we share more of these moments: daily life, tea practice, and connection. This is the Fairy Crane Tea Podcast, Tea Talk. I'm Dawn, and I'll see you in the next episode.